guys. And I think we got a problem with the LinkedIn link, but let's push on. Facebook, thanks for joining me. YouTube, thanks, guys. Thanks, Stan. Thanks, Joe. Big night tonight. We've got Dave from Beyond EV joining us a bit later on in the show. We had a session with him last night, pre-record, so that's later in the show. Sit down with a cup of coffee because some great stuff. We plan to talk to him about his BYD Seal after 50,000 Ks, bits and pieces, maintenance, how he's feeling about that. We ended up talking about the whole range of BYDs, some great used EV bargains in the BYD space as well, how they're holding up really nicely, actually, and selling really, really well. And then, of course, there was some great news for BYD yesterday, which didn't plan on covering, that sort of slipped under the radar until yesterday. It became big news with a ship of BYDs, over 4,500, close to 5,000 arriving yesterday. He was on the spot, so we managed to get some video from him as well, and the official stuff from BYD later in the show. Dave's done a separate video. Check that out. I've watched that already. He's got a lot more subscribers and getting a lot more viewers than I am. He was invited. They went on board the ship. They had a tour around. Incredible experience. Congratulations, BYD. Huge effort and, well, magnificent. And we've got several different aspects we're going to look at BYD tonight. But first of all, the fantastic news. And if you're not happy now, everybody, thanks, Murray, for joining us. If you guys aren't happy, then we may never be happy. Of course, we're talking about the sales figures. And we got to 20%. This is an unbelievable number just for pure EVs, and no doubt you've all seen it now. It's been all over the news, all over the social media. It'll be on mainstream news very shortly indeed. I think the number of total electric cars was something up to, yeah, absolutely, Sensei. I'm just thrilled. If we're never going to be happy tonight, we will never be happy because I had a big night planned and then the sales data came in. Unbelievable. I think the total of electric vehicle sales numbers was, including hybrids, which I'm not counting, plug-in hybrids and non-plug-in hybrids, was close to 43% overall. Of course, the big number that was down was the Utes. They were way down. And of course, Tesla Model Y was doing some heavy lifting there, but followed up with the JQ J5, one of my favorites, well-priced. And some of these really well-priced cars are coming to the mix now. Geely doing well, and of course the whole suite of BYDs doing well. And I'm not going to pick up on all the new car numbers, but we're just thrilled outright that it boosts the whole industry. Maybe it was a tipping point after all. These guys have bought these cars, they're delivering them now, the orders are sticking. Maybe it is a tipping point after all because Ute sales are well down. I'm not going to go into the full numbers at the moment. There's a lot of great stories amongst them, but I guess Tesla Model Y is going to rain on my BYD parade tonight. It is the biggest selling car outright in Australia this month. That is unbelievable. First time an EV's done that. Absolutely incredible. I've got to be Model Y. Tesla have had some ups and downs with sales. They've had some ups and downs last year all around. But what a bounce back. Almost 5,500 cars. 1,000 ahead of the Ford Ranger and the Hilux trailing that. So maybe we've reached peak Ute until they pull their finger out and get the EV Utes here. Maybe we've reached peak diesel Ute anyway. I hope so. And I hope this continues. But if Tesla bring it, particularly with the Model Y, YL, I think it is, the six-seater, that's been very popular. Bringing more Model Ys onto the used market. We're seeing a lot more coming through as well, and that I'm so excited about. So the flow-on effect for the used market means more great stock of Model Ys, new and old. Really happy to see that, but congratulations to Tesla. They're top of the charts. Model 3 slipping back, but the Model Y is just a standout. Number one selling car in Australia. First time that has ever happened. I haven't looked, Sensei, whether BYD whether Xpeng is even featured in the top. We did get a note from Xpeng this week that they are on track and they're building their network out. But yeah, that'll be a bit of an interesting area, and that whole decision about whether to buy a new brand or even now an established brand like Tesla, which is unbelievable to say that now, that even after 10 years, Tesla's got the network, they've got the sales network, they've got the parts network, the repairs network, and you can rely on them to be there for you now, which is a pretty important part on the second-hand market and on the new market as well. No doubt that's helping sales. It's becoming almost mainstream, the brand as well. So really happy about that. Thrilled with that news, and that's the best breaking news we could have. No doubt Tom and the gang will go into that a bit later on, but we've still got our daily dose, our weekly dose of deals, data, and discovery tonight. So let's push on, because I had a little bit of breaking news myself. I had a call from a journalist from The Driven, one of our, well, they might have a little marketplace themselves. And of course, tonight's brought to you by AmazingEV, our very own marketplace. And they asked here I am featuring in an article by The Driven from Jemima Clegg. They were investigating the whole aspect of charging without a home charger. And yes, little secret in case you didn't know, we have not had a home charger. Yeah, Don, I was a bit shocked myself. Happy to revert back, and I'll go back and answer some questions and carry on with some comments, because, yeah, we could probably stay on those sales numbers all night. I'll let Tom and the guys later on do the heavy lifting on that. 9 o'clock's way past my bedtime now. But no doubt they'll go into it in depth, and Riz will go into the numbers in depth. But there were some solid numbers through Geely, through BYD, through Zeekr 7X, of course. Really good. I was amazed that they could deliver 20%. I remember the new car market's around about 105, 110 on a good month, 100,000 cars. So that's 20,000, at least 20,000 cars, pure EVs they delivered, and another 20,000 at least hybrids. And I think you can't buy a RAV4 without there being a hybrid now, but that's another question for another time. BYD will bounce back. You're right, Murray. They're locked in solid there. I think most of those cars on that ship were accounted for, and so there's another 5,000 just straight off the boat, quite literally. But back to me. Yes, so I was lucky enough to be part of the news cycle myself on Monday, and this article came out talking about home chargers. Happy to be asked, happy to have my face out there, happy to be talking in the marketplace about charging for all those people who do not have a charger at home, who live in an apartment, who live in a townhouse. There are solutions in the pipeline, but for the 20-30% of people in Australia who own an EV, or who don't, and all the rest who don't want to buy an EV because they can't charge at home, you can get away with not charging at home. You can charge a couple of times a week at a public charger. They're everywhere now. The government are pouring a heap in. The local councils are pouring a heap in. Stan is super excited as well. He's heading off. Stan, stay in touch. I want you to call in maybe next week or the week after. We'll make a time, but stay in touch. I want to get an update from some of your travels. And if you're in Sydney, pop in, we'll see, and we'll try and get you on the show as well. But check in with us as you go around. Stan's off taking the Zeekr 7X around Australia. So looking forward to that one as well. Back to me again. So anyone out there who is looking to buy an EV, new or used, and does not have a charger at home, couple of people interviewed in this, plenty of examples and anecdotes. You can charge at the local charging station once or twice a week, often near supermarkets, but outlets, and you can do your shopping, come back, and you're done. You pick up the 700 Ks with a couple of charges a week easily and get something else, a coffee or a shopping done. So great to be asked by that one, and great to be part of the news. But the other interesting article this week as well, which coincidentally just rolled off the back of that work we did with Ross Durango last week about V2G. And if you haven't seen that, go back and have another look at the summary I put up on Friday of the highlights of just Ross's chat about V2G. And this article, again from The Driven, Amber extended their V2G trial to another 1,000 EVs, and it involved a whole lot of things coming together. You might have seen this one or not, but really interesting because we'd just done some work on V2G last week. I just brought myself up to speed with it. And I was, well, first of all, I was a V2G skeptic. Then Ross Durango explained it to me in a way that I really understood what it was about. Then I got on board with it. So if you're not on board, that's okay. I think it's coming. I think it's going to be an integral part of the system. The bigger picture here is that there's going to be hundreds of thousands of EVs soon, and a lot of battery capacity sitting there unused. And so from a big picture scenario, it's very important that this is employed as part of the electricity supply solution. And if it can be, It will be. Amber, the wholesale dealer who a lot of people are already aware of, I haven't got a deal with Amber. They've hooked up with BYD. This is BYD representative, and BYD have made an Atto 3 available. That is of Atto 3. They have made an Atto 3 available for a BYD trial, a V2G trial. It needs the car to be compatible. It needs the car to have the warranty approved. BYD did the right thing here, got involved with Amber, they got involved with the government who funded it, and that's the state government through the ARENA program, which and ARENA is an acronym for the body that oversees this. There is a master plan in place. A lot of background we covered. Check the video out, but great to see that some of the components are coming together here. The minister doesn't look too happy about it, maybe because he's paying for it. BYD representative and Sarah Aubrey did a couple of great videos last week as well. I haven't covered it in more detail, but just slots into the BYD picture a little bit more, just from being a good EV citizen as well as being a car distributor and seller. Nice to see them getting involved with programs like this. And the charger, if you're asking, is not the one in between the guy in the black jacket and the beige jacket. It's the one behind the guy in the beige jacket's head. And that is a specialist V2G charger, allows bidirectional. Yeah, thanks, Murray. I know, Murray. I think they were still restrictive, and you did have to pay to be part of this. It was a subsidised payment. The government chipped in. It wasn't free. But check that out. I've got the link down below in the video and summary I did. If you're still interested, if you want to tell the story of V2G to someone else, I'm not going to go through it again now but it just made sense to me, and Ross explained it in a way. And I put that one up on Facebook, and that was a very interesting exercise because a couple of things happen, and my inbox is normally my favorite place, and yeah, the Amber trial is limited to, and I think the car has to have the capability to talk back to the charger, but they have to make warranty provision at the moment as well. So yeah, lots of things are going to fall into place, but as soon as we get some standards here beyond just whatever manufacturer is doing, it is not a complicated exercise. This can be solved, and battery car prices are half the price of standalone. So, but what happens often, Star Charger, that's it, Murray. I think, yeah, and the details there. And I don't know details about pricing, but what happened after I put this on Facebook, and the inbox is one of my favorite places, right? And so to the inbox, interesting, some feedback as a result. And this is a mixed bag on Facebook. And I was curious and interested because, yeah, I got on board with it, and I can understand other people aren't on board with the V2G. I'm admiring BYD and Amber and the government for putting this program together, and then also the broader work the government's doing on a master plan to try and make this work. The reason it does work is we've got variable prices, apparently, such volatility in the wholesale market around about the peak hour. Apparently, I have learnt later through Facebook and a couple of others that volatility, particularly in the price fluctuations, is not as prevalent as it used to be because the amount of solar being generated is being put into home batteries, which is being fed, is being self-consumed, is not causing those volatility spikes. It's smoothing that out. You get what I mean. It's not as big a problem, but we had a mixed bag here from people that had already got home batteries, and someone who was on the trial but had already committed to a home battery. And so if they've spent the money elsewhere, I can see not a lot of interest in trying to employ your car battery. To the guy down the bottom, home battery of 10 kilowatt hours of solar, 50 of home, C-line and O3, 135, all of which he wants to combine together, and he can see the benefit of putting that back into the system as well. So Atto 3, 3-door, Jojo, 4-year-old, still sold 67 last month. Yeah, I know there's some good prices, and BYD Atto 3s were getting down to sub 30K, but they're back well in the mid 30s as well. They're selling really quickly and holding their value really nicely, and ticking away on the new car market as well. So, but due for a bit of an update, Dave tells us. But then the last comment there, where someone suggested that they weren't going to pay 30 cents a kilowatt hour and then sell it back for 4 cents, which missed the point. And so I've got the full spectrum of views there. Missed the point of how it works because you buy it low and you sell it high, and that's the only way it works. It does rely on some volatility. They're looking at it in other countries, but interesting to see that all came together with that trial program after we just got behind it ourselves. We were skeptics, and now we're on board with it. But of course, before we jump into Dave and the BYD story tonight, the AmazingEV website, we are picking up listings again, and a couple of ones I wanted to feature tonight. Ant Day, who many of you know from Facebook, has put his Tesla Model 3 short range, that's not long range, Fremont built, that's one of the early ones from 19, this one 20, done 150,000 Ks on the market, and this at a very reasonable price of 27.5. So if you're heading to Perth, perhaps you can check in on and ask Ant to give you a test drive. You might be interested. I know you're not a Tesla fan, but check it out for us. Lovely. He's had it beautifully detailed. This is in great condition. He bought it secondhand as well. I think battery test coming on that one. Murray's exporting to the grid tonight. Well done, Murray. Good work. And I think that is going to be the way that we use batteries in the future. Thanks to the 19 for joining us tonight. Good turnout. It is a lovely night here in Sydney, and there's no football on tonight. So it's EV night exclusively. With news like that, we've got to celebrate. I am going to just show you one more little car that was Mrs. Amazing's favourite. Prices on those Tesla Model 3s reasonably coming back under 30 again. There weren't many. Model 3 long range 2023, a bit optimistic at 44,000. That's probably closer to 30, probably closer to 40. This one here, this one of Mrs. Amazing's favourites. This one in Canberra, if there's anyone in Canberra, 25 Fiat 500e, perfect for anyone who wants a little town car, just wants to go to the shop. But these were pure luxury and beautifully built. May not be able to buy them new. There's probably still a few floating around. It's probably, I'd say, low 30s if they might take a deal. I don't know the owner. Jaden's in Canberra and listed with us. So again, surplus to requirement, only 2,000. It's virtually new. And I like that blue colour. It's a beauty. So really, that is one of my favourites, the Glacier Blue. And one of my favourites and Mrs. Amazing's favourites as well. So couple there. And again, slowly coming back on the market. The market for used is still doing really, really well. Prices are coming back a bit. And I think that's in response to what you've seen on the new car market, which has gone really strongly. Unbelievable. And particularly cars like that JQ, J5 at mid-30s. That's stirring up the used car market. And Tesla's doing the heavy lifting in the used car market again. We might have some numbers for you at the end of the quarter. Our tap's been turned off for used EV numbers, but we hopefully will turn it back on again. Mrs. Amazing met Ant when she was in Perth over there a month or two ago as well. So, yeah, we're trying to help him find a buyer for that one. He's pretty realistic with the price, and hopefully we can find someone to look after that. But yeah, there's still talking to a few people, still a few listings coming through. Listings are coming back. Why do you ask if EVs are so popular? Are people selling? Well, Model Y is probably coming on fairly strong, the older models. Seeing a couple of trends there. People are buying new ones still in numbers, but a lot of those new ones are the YL models, that six-seater. That's proved really, really popular. Don said, I noticed in Queensland, private sales still a lot too expensive compared to the dealers. Yeah, you're right, Don. There's a massive difference between the trade-in prices and the retail prices at the moment. The dealers just haven't adjusted at all. Even Tesla themselves. I'm seeing a lot of articles that Fiat 500 has I think he's made a mistake. I'll go through and double check that. So thanks for fact checking me on that. He might have. I think that's my fact checker's got that. Let that one slip through to the keepers. So thanks for picking it up, Muzza. I appreciate that. Sorry, Don. I got you mixed up with Muzza for a minute there. Jumping back to Queensland and Don, yeah, the dealers there are still not offering, and particularly Tesla. I've seen a lot of messages on Facebook where people aren't sure what they're going to get. They're not committing to a trade-in price until the actual car arrives and is delivered. Um, so yeah, interesting. There is a big arbitrage for dealers at the moment, and they're trying to make the most of it. I'm sure. Private market is still a bit toppy, particularly on Teslas. But I'm advising people to just look around. This is a good deal. This one that Ant's got. Muzza, I'll fix that, and thank you for checking that out for me. We try and check the listings before we publish them, just in case some of the data slips through. But I will double check that now because it's definitely not 500. Someone can Google that for me, how big the battery is in a model in a 500e, but it's definitely not 100. That'd be about the whole capacity of the car, I think. So that's it. But look, we got plenty to come up from Dave. This was a big session, so hang in there if you like for as long as you like, because we got over half an hour of chat from his trip to the BYD big ship yesterday. He was part of a big crew that BYD entertained yesterday for a really important trip. And then they got a massive tour around the boat as well. So I've got the link from Dave's site down below. He's just posted that video up yesterday. Then we are covering a few of the BYDs on the market as well, and their range now. They've got the market covered. There's 6 EVs in that range now. So Tesla doing the heavy lifting with one. BYD, you've got 6 pure EVs now. I'd love to see a pure EV shark BYD. Time is now. Time is now to bring out a pure EV ute. So we'll fix that up. 42 Mrs. Amazing's Googled that now. It is pretty small, but that's all you need on the 500e. So stay with us because I'm going to take you over the interview I did with Dave last night. He's got to have one night off during the week, but he's pumping them out. He was my go-to guy for BYD. He covered BYD exclusively. If you're not subscribed to him, he's got thousands of subscribers, but go and have a look at him. He's covering other cars and other models now, but he's still my go-to guy for BYD. So I'll leave you with Dave and myself from last night, and I'll get on some comments as well because it was a good chat. Hey, Dave, welcome back to EV Marketplace on a Wednesday night. Thanks for joining me again. Good to see you.
No, thanks for having me, Rosco.
Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you, buddy. And tonight we're talking BYD. We spent a lot of time on Tesla, but time to really get back to BYD because they're kicking goals everywhere. There's news everywhere. And I started talking to you a couple of weeks ago about your own BYD Seal. And I wanted to go back and have a look at that at 50,000 Ks, the ups and downs, the pluses, the minuses, because you did a great thing in the links down below on that experience. And it's still good buying on the used car market as well. And you're enjoying it and loving it as well. But since then, there's been an incredible amount of news with BYD in the V2G space. And then also something special happened today, which I hadn't kept track of, but you were there live, weren't you? So tell me what happened today. Where were you?
That's right. Today I was at the Port of Melbourne to celebrate the arrival of the BYD Jungzhou roll-on, roll-off vessel. It's one of BYD's 8 commissioned vehicle carrier vessels, and this thing is an absolute behemoth. It just shows you just how vertically integrated this company actually is, where they commission and build. Well, they don't build it themselves, but they own this ship and they can use it to move their cars all around the world at the drop of a hat.
Unbelievable. I mean, and they had a special event today that you attended to celebrate this shipment. I think they went out of their way to make sure that Australia had stock when the demand rose recently, and they've been doing really, really well in the EV space, the hybrid space. But they put the ship on specially and brought out how many more cars today in a short space of time?
Just under 5,000, so 4,908, which is pretty much at capacity for this ship, and plenty more to come. Apparently, Stephen Collins, COO of BYD Australia, wanted to get around 30,000 cars onshore by the end of June, and this bringing the ship across is just part of that. This isn't the only ship. There's more coming. Not BYD ships, but just ships in general?
Yeah, look, I mean, it's going to be head to head with Tesla. And I try not to mention them, but they had their new car sales numbers out today. They've had another bumper month, but I think there's no doubt BYD with a massive range, at least 6 EVs that we counted out of all 12 in the range. And only after 3 years in Australia, here's part of the presentation. To go this far, to have a presentation where they're celebrating another shipment coming and the success and how well the company's doing. I'm just overwhelmed myself after a small start only 3 years ago with Luke Todd and the gang, and the Addo 3 where it all started. It just amazes me. You've been invested. You've been following them specifically for a couple of years since you branched out, and has it surprised you how well they've done?
Yeah, even me, it surprised me. I I always had a feeling that if there was one brand that was going to crack it and make it mainstream, particularly out of China, it's obviously got to be BYD. They've just
Yeah,
got the technology,
yeah,
they've got the research and development, they've got the vertical integration behind them. No one else has that level of, I don't know, business acumen, I guess,
yeah.
in the automotive industry. So it was always going to be them. I just did not expect it to happen this quickly.
I mean, so yeah, look, the number of models they've got, and we see the numbers from China, just phenomenal. They're still number one in China by a long, long way, and just the scale and the enormity. And then now the Denza brand, the sub Denza brand, just hybrids as well. But some EVs there in the pipeline, no doubt. I'd love to see a pure EV Shark, maybe. But look, yeah, there's incredible range in the things that they've done at the moment. Let's have a look at the website and just check what they've got here at the moment, because I haven't kept track with the number of models here. At last count, so this year, after a 3 year standing start, Addo 3 only came out, what, mid 22 now. So 4 years, all right? Yeah, probably
Yeah.
mid 22, 4 years now. That's the model range, 12 models, hybrids and EVs. And Addo 1, Addo 2, Addo 3, Dolphin, Seal, and Sea Lion 7, all pure EVs, which we're going to focus on tonight.
Mm.
Respect what they're doing with the hybrids, but we're just going to leave that alone. And you bought the Seal a couple of years ago now, yeah.
2024, at the very start of
Yeah.
2024.
And I'll put you on the spot. If you were buying the BYD today, have you got another favourite you'd like?
Uh, the Seal, I'm still a sedan person at
Yeah,
heart. Like, I drive all their SUVs on
yeah,
a regular basis, but I just love the way a sedan handles
yeah,
and drives, and I just enjoy it for the type of driving I do, 'cause I have a normal 9 to 5 job, so I'm driving to and from work and doing all the kids' runs. Like, I
yeah.
wanna be comfortable for me because 'cause I'm the one sitting in it most of the time. So, for me, yeah, either the Seal EV, or perhaps if it came soon enough, the Z9 GT.
That's the Denza, isn't it? Yeah.
That's the
That's
Denza,
the
full EV
Denza.
with
Yeah.
flash
Okay.
charging,
And that's
and sh
that's pure that's pure EV.
yeah.
Yeah, okay. We'll come back to that another time. When you get your hands on that, we're going to come back and have another look at that again. But yeah, look, some family, not some family cars, I guess. A Ute, the Shark's done, Six has done really well. Again,
Mm.
if it's a stopgap measure to get people thinking about EVs, I'm happy for them. But I'd love to see a pure EV Shark. They've been doing a lot of other work more recently as well. And I've only just did some work last week with Ross Durango. If you watched the show on V2G. I knew that some manufacturers, it involves the cars and the manufacturers getting involved to cooperate with the chargers and the grid operators to get this thing moving forward. I didn't realize BYD was one of them. And then we saw this announcement with a first trial with Amber. They've taken on another 1,000 owners, and BYD, they're supporting this. BYD cars, I believe, are going to be part of the trial. They've allowed warranty, which might have restricted it to allow V2G, something like that for the trial. Do you know much more about that, Dave?
But just on the V2G side of things, I feel as though, and don't quote me on this, but it's linked very close to V2L, and V2L I know a little bit about.
Yeah,
And I know that there isn't like an industry-wide standard for
yeah,
V2L. So every car is different.
yeah,
And like if you've got a generic V2L charger, it'll work on one car, and then you'll plug it into another one and it just doesn't work because it just doesn't handshake properly. And I think that's probably where V2G right now is maybe seeing a bit of a roadblock. There needs to be some sort of standardization across the industry, and then every EV can do it, because then the battery makers and the EV charger makers can
Yeah.
develop their products to work with every car then.
I was also curious because I think the Atto 3 was used in that trial. That was one of the ones that they were talking about. And look, Atto 3, I've got a bit of a soft spot for it. It was the first, one of the first cars I ever drove in. In fact, it was the first EV I drove in. When they set up in William Street in Sydney, mid 22, and I was late 22, and I was starting to have a look. Mrs. Amazing decided that we'd go another direction and buy a Tesla. But yeah, that was the first EV I'd driven in properly, and just yeah, it was an amazing experience. And they had a bit of a quirky interior, but they are still doing really well on the new car market and really, really well on the used car market. So I just want to go through a couple of usedies with you because and get your views if you know some people or had some experiences. I know you do mostly new stuff, but again, this is really holding up nicely, and the market's pretty hot at the moment. This one,
Mm.
36,000, 2023 at oh 03. I don't know which spec it is, whether it's a long range or not, but done 50,000 Ks. They're holding up really nicely, and I've seen examples 2-year-old cars, Uber drivers doing 186,000 Ks. So, have you seen anything like that at all? Had any issues, any problems with owners around the town?
No, not Atto 3. Atto 3 is just, if you looked up the definition of car in the dictionary, it'll have a picture of an Atto 3. It's just a car. It's a perfect car. It's a
Yeah,
perfect size for most. That's why I think it's been so popular.
yeah,
And because it's a BYD, it's already got the reputation of, good reliability, because yeah, there hasn't really been anything systemic that's wrong with it. If
yeah,
there's been problems, it's just been one-offs, which happen
yeah,
with any car,
yeah.
any brand. They'll have one car that does one thing and then that's it. I've got a friend of mine who has owned one since I think 2023. He was one of the first ones to get one, and he's just hit 70,000 kilometers and just had to change his original OEM tires for the first time. So,
That is, I know,
yeah,
that's amazing.
it's even they, like, I remember seeing the original reviews, they copped a bit of bad rap, the
Yeah,
tires, because they weren't very grippy,
that's right.
but they did their job. They lasted a long time. That's the trade-off you make. You either get something durable or something that's more performance driven, and these are definitely durable.
And then again, I think that you've been more of a student of BYD than I have, but my observation is that this will go down in history as as really cementing BYD's foundation here in Australia and really cementing the EV industry. If you, as anything but a Tesla, if you didn't want a Tesla, this was a fantastic choice. And I think a lot of people their entree into EVs was this car, and they've hardly changed the design in 3 or 4 years now, which is unheard of as well. Maybe, and I know there's updates coming in bits and pieces, and there's been some minor cosmetic changes, but that quirky interior has stayed the same, right? And despite lots of comments and lots of variable feedback, it stayed the same. So,
It stayed the
you,
same. They just changed the colors to make it a little bit less,
yeah,
vibrant, I guess, a little bit more sedate, and yeah, it's done the job. People don't mind it. It's something you sort of get used to. Like,
yeah,
I've driven it a couple of times, and when you jump into it, it's like, "Yep, okay." But then you drive it for a while, and, like,
yeah.
it's just a car. It does its job, and
That
does it
rotating
well.
screen was yeah, it was. I mean, it was quirky but interesting and a nice piece of tech, and yet yeah, some people got some interesting feedback. But speaking of quirky and interesting, I know the Dolphin came out with a big fanfare launching at SeaWorld 2 or 3 years ago, or maybe a year after. But I know that I think sadly, from what we've seen, they've dropped that Dolphin in that colour, which is a bit of a shame, isn't it? That purple one was a real standout. I haven't got the shots of the interior, this one, but this one has the matching interior as well. So again,
Yeah.
great, holding up great on the used EV market and still selling well new. And at 30,000, good buying. People crying out for small cars. This is still holding up really well. Have you driven one of these? Mm.
I think I don't actually, you know what? I think this is the only BYD car I haven't. I've sat in a few in dealerships, but I've never driven a Dolphin. Out of
I
all
haven't
of them,
either.
that's the only one.
I haven't either. We better get out and drive one. I'm going to go for a test drive on one, or maybe find a customer with one and go and sit there and have a drive in it because I've seen plenty of pictures, but I haven't driven one either. So
I know, I've driven cars that you can't even buy yet from BYD, but I haven't driven this one, and it's been one of their longest selling ones.
this is,
There's been a lot of these quirky colors
yeah,
from BYD that were pretty popular early on that would be almost collector's items now. Like,
yeah,
they would charge a premium. You can, because this purple color you can't get anymore, and
yeah,
this isn't the only one. I was just remembering now, the Atto 3, yesterday I saw a red Atto 3 drive past, and I
yeah.
forgot that that car came in red, and you can't get it in red now.
That's right.
I think there was a
No,
green one at one point as well. I don't think you can get that one either.
everyone wanted a
And it
black. Everyone wanted a black one when they first came out, and of course, yeah, now they're all dark colors, and it's a shame.
Yeah.
It's
There's another one that's rare as hen's teeth, and that's the Seal with the white interior. You can get them. I almost got one, and I'm sort of kicking myself now because, yeah, that's nearly a collector's item now, because it's been nearly 2 years since you've been able to buy one new, and anyone who puts one up for sale, they just get snapped up
all right. I'll keep.
like
I'm going to keep.
quickly
I'm going
as.
to keep an eye out for that one. Because the Dolphins up against the Atto one now, and everyone's been crying out for this one. You've driven this one, yeah? You drove it in China, something similar.
I drove it in China, drove it here in Melbourne. Yeah, it's a great car. The one in China was just, it's like a little hot hatch. Like, you
Yeah,
just don't expect it. You expect it to be something that's, pretty sensible,
yeah.
but yeah, if you put the foot down, it's got some pep in it.
We found this one on the used car market. It's 26 grand again. It's probably looks a bit more dealer demoy than pure used, but again, drive away 26 grand. I mean, it is perfect for around town. I think it's the base model, but yeah, I
Mm.
mean, a brilliant car. Again, I haven't. I've seen plenty around Sydney already, and but I haven't had a chance to drive this one yet. What more do you want for a perfect little town car? They're asking for small EVs. This is a great example. What's this one new at the moment? We'll have a look at
And you
this
know what? This is
Atto.
probably going to be V2G compatible.
Yeah,
So, like, how much is a home battery of the same capacity, 39 kilowatts or whatever's in this car?
yeah. That's the thing.
Pretty,
And
yeah,
yeah,
pretty
about
similar price, actually.
the
You
cost
can't drive it, but
before subsidy about the cost of this car, right?
yeah.
I know look, it's a very interesting argument. If you've got a home battery already, then you're probably not keen on V2G because you're set with your off the grid
Mm.
style of operation, and you can still get that post-it note yellow on the on the same as the Volvo EX30. Very similar, but the others are a bit blander now, unfortunately. But
They changed the name of it. So people were arguing whether this is yellow or green,
yeah, that's
and they've changed the name to make it pine lime. So it's like both.
I know. It's one of those internet questions. Is this green or is this yellow? I mean, what do you see? I mean, in this photo, I see more yellow, but yeah, one screen looks yellow, one screen looks green. So that's my color
Oh,
settings.
when you see it in person, it's a lot more of a difficult separation to make. It does look like sort of like a light green in particular light. So it's basically a tennis ball color.
Yeah.
So
Does
it's
that help? That doesn't help either.
no,
That's some people see that as green, some people see that as yellow.
exactly, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's exactly what it is. I think
That's
something like
nice.
the Atto 2 would be a good sort of
Yeah,
Uber starter car, because that's a size up from this, get a bit more range. It's really not that much more in price.
I
It's a
know, and
good get.
I skipped it. I couldn't find an Atto 2 on the used market, and we didn't. I sort of skipped over it, but yeah, this again. I still wanted to cover it because do you like this one? Does this slot between the Atto 3 and the Atto 1?
Bigger than the Dolphin. So it's sort of priced at the same price point as the Dolphin, but
Mm,
it's bigger.
okay.
And the reason it's sort of priced the same is that the Dolphin's got a bigger battery in it, funnily enough,
Yeah.
even though it's a smaller car. So you get more range in the Dolphin.
Okay.
But the Atto 2 just gives you more practicality, because
Yeah.
it's got a really nice interior. I was surprised. I looked on the outside, it looked like a bit of an older design, but
Yeah.
when you hop inside, it it looks pretty schmick and like pretty clean on the inside.
Yeah.
the Atto 3 is getting an update. I
Yeah,
know that that's happening.
yeah.
The, quirkiness is mostly gone, but the guitar strings still stay. That's what I've seen.
And then the Sea Lion 7 I saw on Facebook Marketplace as well. We can't get many listings on Amazing EV. Our own marketplace, they just come and go very quickly. Again, that's the trend that some of the Teslas hang around, but the BYDs are selling very well. And this one I saw, Sea Lion 7, this is a big car, 51 and a half grand, and hasn't done many Ks. So amazing price compared to new. So again, the market's up. It's been pretty hot, but I don't know if there's anything wrong with this. I haven't checked it out. I don't know the sellers on this one. I don't know where it is, but just found it on Facebook Marketplace. That's a really good price. What do you think of that?
Wanna save yourself 6 grand, for a car that's, 4,000 Ks old. It's already had its first, service done to just check all the nuts and
Yeah.
bolts and fluids and make sure nothing's rattled loose.
Yeah.
Like, that's it. The next service isn't due till 20,000. So,
That's no, that's a lot of car for me. I've seen these around. It's big and it's massive. It's bigger than the Model Y. It's a lot bigger. You think? Yeah, closer
yeah,
to the new
it's
Model Y long
deceptively
range. Yeah,
big. It feels big. I noticed that when driving it as well. It feels
yeah.
big when you're driving it. It's got the same drivetrain in it as the Seal,
Okay.
but it just it doesn't feel as big as sorry, it feels bigger than the
Yeah.
Seal
Too big for you then.
substantially.
Too big for you.
Um, yes, I would say I prefer the drive dynamics of the Seal,
More of a
to be
you like
honest.
more of a driver's car. Yeah. Mm.
I wouldn't say a driver's car. Just I don't know. I've always had this problem with SUVs is just getting the right seating position. I just
Yeah.
never get it right. I'm either too high or too low. Whereas when I'm in a sedan, I can just
Yeah.
find my cruising position pretty quickly.
I like sitting up high, but getting to the seal, I did find this one as well. And again, that 44 grand. I think this is the dynamic, which is not, if I'm not mistaken, is no longer offered anymore. The dynamic on the seal, yeah. Mm.
No, it isn't actually. I think that just quietly got dropped.
Mm.
There wasn't any major announcement or anything like that. They just
Was
stopped
that the
making it.
was that the base model? Was it the base? And then
Yeah.
you've got the premium, yeah, and then there's
Yeah.
the performance above that, yeah,
Yeah. And I think the premium is the pick of the lot
yeah.
if you were to get so um there's been a lot of reviews. I haven't actually spent a lot of time in the performance, to
Mm.
be honest. But from what I've been told, it has a similar sort of drive,
Yeah.
feel, and dynamic as the premium,
Mm.
except it's just significantly faster. And for a car with that much power and performance, it should have a bit more of a sportier
Yeah.
feel or tune. So premium, but premium just knocks it out the park. It's
Yeah.
like the perfect amount of power, perfect drive tune for it. It's
Yeah.
such a good buy, and I would say the dynamic would probably be the same as well because it's got a little bit less power than the premium. So
Yeah.
um, yeah,
This
if you don't need all the extra creature comforts that the premium offers, I think the dynamic's pretty good too.
44 grand for this one. Yeah, look, there were premiums going a year ago when they were selling after they were a year old for 45 grand. So this is the dynamic. So yeah, they've picked up in price. The premiums are closer to a bit over 50 at the moment. Second hand, still good buying. I don't have to sell you on this. This is a brilliant car, right? For that sort of
Yeah.
money. Again, so one of the reasons I really wanted to have a chat to Dave today was to have a look at his Seal Premium because he's just done a video, a fantastic video, and because his is just at 50,000 Ks after 2 years, and it's had thousands of views because it just goes through in detail about some of the pluses and minuses, some of the things that haven't worn as well, but overall, incredible car. So again, before we jump in, Dave, how would you sum up that experience after 2 years?
Nothing unexpected,
Mm.
to be honest. It's
That's
been
that's a good
an
way to
excellent car.
be.
Yeah,
That's a good
that's
feeling
all
with a
you want.
car,
Like
right?
things will break, things
Yeah.
will wear, but like you have a certain level of expectation, and
Mm.
as long as it's within that, I can't
Yeah.
complain. And it's not just BYD; that's with any car. As long
Yeah.
as nothing breaks prematurely. And look, there's been you'll see in the video a couple of things that might have prematurely worn down, but they're not. deal breakers. They're just things that are easily replaced, or there's aftermarket options available for that type of stuff.
Let's jump into the first intro of this, and then we'll jump to a couple of segments there, which I found really interesting.
I have just clocked up 50,000 kilometers on my BYD Seal, and I'm going to be going through how the exterior is held up, how the interior is held up, and even how the battery has held up on today's episode of Beyond EV, your home for new energy vehicles.
You get to review yourself.
It's very
It's a good.
bassy.
I know you like the look of it. It's a good looking car. It is a good looking car, and the way you filmed it, and it is a nice looking car. You still love it.
I did. I typically go out in the morning when I do my B-roll shots, but for this one, I typically went. I actually went out at golden hour because you notice, like during the normal shots when I'm walking around, it's really bright and airy because I shot that in the morning.
Yeah,
But for that intro, I made the extra effort to go back out at 6 o'clock at night to get those golden light shots
I
to
know,
make it look as good
and
as it
that
can
is.
possibly look.
And again, for anyone who wants to take shots of a used car to list it for sale, we're talking about the golden hour, that last hour just before sunset. And there's very little shadow, and that's what really upsets any good photo is shadows, too much shadow. So bizarrely, the best time is what they call golden hour, just that hour before sunset when there's very little shadow, the light's a bit softer, and yeah, it makes the car. If you've got a good camera or even an iPhone, it'll adjust perfectly and bring out beautiful shots. And that's the perfect time to take shots if you're listing your used car for sale. So don't forget that. But first up, I guess you covered the paint and a few little bits and pieces in terms of some niggles in the front there. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, yeah, and I actually touched on this a bit. So this is the third review video I've done this. I've also done a 10,000 and a 20,000 K review of this car.
Check that
And I
out on
mentioned
Dave's on
this.
Dave. Check that out on Dave's channel as well. Yeah.
Yeah, I mentioned at 20,000 that I had a feeling that the paint was going to be soft because I copped one chip then.
Yeah.
And since that video, I've copped a couple more. Um, it's probably one of the only downsides with the
Mm.
exterior. And I do recommend you get a PPF wrap, at least just on that
Yeah.
front bumper. The bonnet is fine. Everywhere else is fine. Even the mirrors, they cop, stones
Yeah.
and bugs, and they haven't chipped away. But that front bumper in particular, it's been particularly soft. But like I go in pretty close, and you can see there's only a handful of like stone chips, and yeah, it's you really can't notice it, even on a white car. And that bumper is black underneath, and you
Yeah.
really can't see it. All the spots you sort of see here, they're just
Yeah.
it's all bugs. I did my best to wash this car, and then I hit a big bug swarm on the way to this shoot, so I copped a bunch of bugs on the front.
There's a combination of some small stone chips and some bugs at the front there. So that'll be with
Yeah.
that'll be with any car, but some PPF at the front might help and certainly protect that. They had a small chip on the windscreen as well. Yeah. Mm.
Yeah, so that happened like a few days ago, and
Right.
that wasn't a small rock to
Mm.
make that small chip. That was a massive thud, and I it actually startled me when I was driving. It was
Oh,
so loud.
it's
And
very
after it
frustrating.
happened, there was a big sort of powder circle around it. Like it just vaporized whatever it hit it. And then I thought it was cracked for sure. And then I checked it, like it's just this tiny nick, and then like this windshield is just incredible. It's just took it like a champ.
And a week later, it hasn't started to just.
No, I haven't even taken it to get like a resin fill or anything like that because it hasn't needed it.
No.
It's like a little blemish on the surface. It's hasn't gone all the way through or anything.
And interior, again, normal wear and tear. What are you finding there?
Yeah, normal wear and tear. And like I give the establishing shot at the very start of that video and go, just look at this and you tell me, do you see anything wrong with it?
No,
Because
looks
at a
pretty bad.
distance, I don't.
No, 50,000 Ks. I know. They're just not wearing out, right? It just looks clean and nice. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You go into a brand new one, it'll look very similar. If you look closely and nitpick little things, yeah,
Yeah.
you'll find something, but just look at it as a whole, it's held up extremely well, in my opinion. There's one thing in this shot I can see right now that has worn out, and that's the carpet along the bottom. There's a bit of a hole, and that's one of the
Yeah.
ones that I pointed out. It could be done a little bit better, but it's the carpet. Like it's not
Mm.
the actual floor, so I can rip those out and just buy new carpets.
Yeah.
That's not a problem. Um, the door trim, there's a bit of a nick in the door.
Yeah.
That's common across all seals, so you'll be surprised if you find one without one. If you do, get it
Yeah, I
because
think you're an easy rider kind of guy.
yeah, um,
I'm on the side armrest, but all the
no,
time
I'm
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 two
on the
arms
wing.
back on this armrest, but you're an up high easy rider guy.
Yeah, this is on pretty much every seal. So if you find one without one, just get it because like that'll be rare.
And tie and yeah,
um,
and interior plastics, piano finish. Yeah,
I see, that's another thing that surprised me. Every time I go into a brand new car, and I'm testing brand new cars every
yeah,
week, there's the amount of them that I get in, and the piano blacks already have scratches on them because you just need to have a dusty cloth dragged across it, and it will cause scratching. This is 2 years old now, and there's not a single scratch on any of the piano blacks. It's just held up very well. Even the molded plastics
yeah.
around it, just that satin sort of grey plastic, I thought that would be a little bit, like, cheaper and maybe a little bit, more wearing, but it just hasn't scratched up at all.
Again, I've got to congratulate BYD on the design and the production of this car. Again, this is a 3 or 4 year old car now, isn't it? Really, and
Mm.
very earlyish days. Well, for us, but probably, and even for them compared to what BYD were doing 5 or 7 years ago. What was the boxy one you told me about? The one they brought out for the taxis.
Oh, E6.
Yeah, that was only 6 or 7 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Maybe eight now, but yeah, this is incredibly advanced and design choices and style, and yeah, I'm impressed with the way it's holding up as well.
I think that's what I like about this car. It's the
Yeah,
particularly the exterior design.
mm,
They've done it so well.
yeah,
It's just not. I don't think it'll age. Like
no,
it's such a modern design. You got to understand. Like we got this car in 2023,
yeah,
but it was already on sale in China for at least a year
yeah,
before then.
yeah,
So this design is about nearly 5 years old
yeah,
now, but it still looks brand new. Like I think I said this in the last video. Like if you'd never seen this car before and you just saw it and it was released today, you'd think it's a nice
exactly.
modern designed car. It's just held up so well.
Was this a Wolfgang Egger's design? Do you think or not?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
I mean, they must again. He's former Audi. Audi have gone off the rails. I'm sorry, but the design's gone off the rails. BYD's gain is their loss. The rotating screen, you're impressed by that, but there was something about that you liked as well. Mm.
yeah, yeah. I thought it's mounted on a motor. That
Yeah,
motor has gears. Those gears are going to wear,
yeah,
which might introduce a bit of play. No, I don't know what the mechanism's made of, but it is just rock solid in either portrait or landscape. There's no rattles. You can sit there rocking it. It just
yeah.
doesn't move in either position.
Tires,
Mm,
you've gone with some Michelin's, I think. Yeah,
that's it. Yeah, I went with Michelin Primacy fives,
yeah.
and I've got no affiliation with Michelin whatsoever. But this is,
Me neither.
I reckon, the perfect car, the perfect tire for this car. Like in terms of durability and performance, that these will last quite a while.
Yeah.
But I found that wet weather performance on them has been great, like
Mm.
phenomenal. So I
It's a
don't think they're
non. It's a non-EV technically spec tire. Yeah.
correct. Yeah, there's two Primacy tires. There's a Primacy
Yeah.
EV. Don't I think it's called E Primacy. I I haven't tried it, but I wouldn't recommend it because
Mm.
from what I've heard, it's like a harder compound.
Yeah.
That's how they get the durability out of it.
Yeah.
Um, so you lose a bit of wet weather performance, but with these ones,
Yeah.
they're not an EV specific tire, but I think they're great for
Yeah.
EVs just because you
Yeah.
still get that performance. It handles that instant torque that you get in an EV so much better.
I'm impressed by the wheel. It's absolutely. You've got no gravel gravel rush on that at all. That is brilliant. Are they all like that?
Uh, all but one, unfortunately. Took a corner a bit too sharply at one time, and yeah, one of them's got a bit of a nick, but the rest are fine.
And then, really impressively, I think you did a bit of work with a OBD on the battery as well. So that was yeah. Tell
Mm.
us a bit more about that.
Yeah, so the big standout there is the state of health, SOH, 95.08%. So look, take these with a grain of salt because I don't know how that number's calculated, but it's a good
Hmm.
indicator of how much capacity is left in your batteries.
Yeah.
So assuming that, you know, just as an example, if 100% and is if your car comes with 500 kilometers of range advertised at
Mm.
100%, 95 means, you're at what is it, 475
Yeah.
now range. Technically, that's what it should mean, but I don't know how it's calculated and I don't know how accurate it is. So yeah, take it with a grain of salt, I would say. But just
Okay.
looking at the other stats there, you can see the battery cell voltage delta. So that
Mm.
gives you an indication of what the difference is between the lowest voltage cell in the battery pack and the highest voltage cell, and it's only 3 microvolts.
Yeah.
So that just tells you that the cells are completely balanced.
Yeah. Have you used this scanner on any other cars, any other BYDs or anything else? Oh.
No, I haven't actually, but now that you've given me the idea, I might actually start doing that.
What servicing have you had it officially at BYD? What servicing intervals?
It's 20,000. So my next one is very soon actually at 60,000.
Okay. So basically every year that roughly that's what then, or 20,000 Ks. Yeah.
Yeah, 12 months, 20,000 Ks. Um, BYDs are a little bit different.
Mm.
They every now and then they'll have a major service, and I believe they'll uh, pretty much flush out all the coolant and replace it, and also replace all the motor oil as well because they do use it's like a diff oil, I
Yeah.
guess. It's a very light, thin oil that they use in the electric motors, so that gets replaced
Yeah.
um, during the major services as well.
Yeah. Hey, look,
Yeah.
thanks for that. And I guess final question: if you had the chance, with 2 years of hindsight of owning this car, the market's pretty good at the moment. You thought about selling it and getting something else, or even getting a new one?
Have thought about it, but haven't really had a need to at the moment. I'm still enjoying it. So right now, no, not really looking at replacing it. It's still a great car.
Yeah.
If anything, if I was to consider another one, I might consider the performance just
Yeah.
because just wanted to go faster. Um, but no, it's a great car, and
Yeah.
like the the value of them, I think, has been going a bit up and down. There was a period where they were going pretty cheaply on the
Yeah.
used market, but I don't think that's going to be like that for too much longer because, like I said, they're a phenomenal looking car. They look exactly like the brand new ones.
Yeah.
Um, if you can pick yourself up a bargain, like I don't think they're going to be on the market for too long. And like I'm in a unique position. I'm
Yeah.
driving new cars
Yeah.
every week, reviewing new cars every week. I still enjoy going back into my car. That's how I know I picked the right car when I can
Yeah.
go back to my normal daily driver and still love getting in it.
So if you're looking for a BYD or any used car, used sedan, again, you don't need to look at a Tesla. You can look at a BYD Seal and some of the other BYDs as well. Fantastic. I know I was really impressed by the Seal and the Atto 3, and I've really been impressed by what BYD have been doing. It is outstanding. So, hey Dave, thanks for sharing all that with us. It's been a big night, and we
Yes.
really appreciate it. And you've had a big day, but congratulations to BYD for the launch, the magnificent shipment that they brought over here, and all the great work that they're doing way back from the Luke Todd days to now, and all the work you're doing. I've got a chance for you to have a look at your new website as well.
Mm.
You can give that a plug if you like.
Yeah, I've started doing a bit of news. I had my domain set up. I've been trying to get this up and running for a while, so it's been pretty quiet. I haven't really advertised it yet, but I'm just populating it with some news articles now. And I figured I do keep my finger on the pulse, and
Yeah.
I have a lot of access to information and news. So I figured I may as well put it in a place where people can find it. The website's beyondev.net.au. So yeah, check it out. I'll update it pretty much every day, as often possible, with modern and
Cool.
with up to date EV news.
Have you got a mailing list people can join there as well?
Sign up for an
Yeah.
account. There is a newsletter subscription option. If you scroll further down, you can subscribe to it.
Thanks for joining me, Dave. Really appreciate that. You can catch Dave's channel, which is on YouTube, which is
Beyond Dash EV at Beyond Dash EV if you're looking for my handle.
keep an eye out for that because he's doing a whole lot more. So thanks, Dave. We'll say good night and look forward to catching you next time. Open invitation to come back anytime you like. So thanks, buddy.
No worries. I'll take you up on it. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having
Thank you.
me.
Dave from Beyond EV, and he has given us a fantastic update on BYD. They've had a big day with a big shipment and really impressed what they've done. Huge range of new cars, EVs, huge range on the used market now. They're selling really quickly. We're not managing to keep them for very long at AmazingEV at all. They are very popular and holding their value really, really well. I'm Rosco, and we'll take you out tonight. Thanks for joining us. We'll take you out tonight on the longer version of the ship arriving in Melbourne today, the BYD ship with 3 or 4,000, 5,000 cars, I think, on it. That's how big demand is at the moment. I'm Roscoe. We'll see you next week.